Thank you so much for joining us this evening, David. Let's talk about this. We've got 3 Labor senators. They've sounded the alarm over the PM's emergency migration laws. As we just heard, their Albo today deflecting, blaming Peter Dutton, trying to, I guess, make the coalition shoulder the blame. But the fact you've got 3 Labor members raising concerns, what does that tell you?
Yeah, look, we gave the government every opportunity to demonstrate why these laws needed to be rushed through, so much so that we helped them get it through the House of Representatives. And then when it got to the Senate, where it should have greater scrutiny, particularly the powers that they're asking for, that there should be some scrutiny there. The fact that the Prime Minister wasn't able to demonstrate the urgency of this bill being passed, I suspect it's more to do with the factional trouble that he'll have between the left and the right of his party. The left will start to peel away for what these laws will provide to the minister. And so it was more about internal management to try and sneak it through Parliament in a rushed, orchestrated way rather than proper scrutiny. And we've been constructive, we've shown that. Not only did we help them redesign their flawed laws that when they brought us back to Parliament for when these detainees were let out by the Albanese government, and we've also helped them with the Russian embassy saga. So we have played a constructive role, but you've got to come with responsibility in demonstrating the urgency and the need at a national security level. And if something changes and the Prime Minister can demonstrate that urgency, then I'm sure all of us would be willing to get back to Parliament to make sure that they are passed. But there was no case demonstrated last week.
So what is it going to take then for the coalition to actually support these laws? What are you looking for?
Oh, well, it's basically making sure there's no unintended consequences. We were concerned about pull factors of people instead of coming to this country on boats, and that's what we have serious concerns about if we rush laws that don't think through the consequences and actually engage properly with agencies, intelligence agencies and security agencies about how these should be constructed. And the architecture of it's important, because if we do restart more boats, then we saw the price of that last time, 50,000 illegal immigrants on boats, but we saw people's lives lost. So we've got a responsibility to make sure we get this right. We've got an opportunity, but if there is something that changes in circumstance that means it's urgent, then of course we're willing to help. We've proven that before, but Anthony Albanese can't do that. This is more an internal management issue of his factional fights than it is about good policy.
And we know that more than 100 detainees who the government wants to deport could be released if the High Court rules against the government coming up in a few weeks on April 17. How much big of a did that play, or how much influence did that play in that decision to try and get this rushed through last week within 36 hours?
Well, we actually have sought advice from the government. If there is an impediment there that we need to pass this bill, we would have. But the Minister made it clear that this had no bearing on the case and there was no real reason around the urgency. So we stand ready. If something changes in terms of those circumstances and the impending case from the High Court in the next couple of weeks, then obviously we stand ready to do whatever's necessary. But when the government can't demonstrate that, something's not right. And you've got to make sure, as a responsibility and privilege that we've been given to go to Canberra and make laws, is that we get that opportunity right the first time and we don't rush things that aren't necessarily needed. And that's the advice that the government's given back to us. So the urgency is something they've got to be clear on, they've got to have to demonstrate, but we stand ready.